All right, everyone, we're gonna get started. My name is Mike Seni. I'm the customer success manager at Togle, and today we're gonna be having a webinar on our customer case study. With me, I have an incredible gentleman. His name is Nate Jensen with Aldrich and Associates, and I'll let him take it away to introduce himself.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. I'm Nate Jensen. Aldrich is a general contractor based in Bothell, Washington. So we're about 20 miles north of Seattle. Aldrich has been in business for 51 years. I've been with Aldrich for about 10. So I came more or less to start an estimating department at Aldrich. They functioned with project managers and leadership, pricing projects. And so in the last 10 years, we've grown from me to 4 of us, and I lead our pre-construction department now.
Awesome. And what type of projects do you guys focus on, Nate?
We're focused on healthcare exclusively. We made the decision about 4 years ago to shift our focus in what we did best. And so we do healthcare, life sciences. We do a lot of larger ground up healthcare facilities, medical office buildings, inpatient hospital renovations, imaging suites, operating spaces. So that's really what we excel at and what we specialize in.
Very cool, very cool. I always love to ask, what made you look for a new takeoff solution? I'm sure you guys had something in place, especially since you joined Aldrich 10 years ago.
Yeah. I honestly wasn't looking. We used Bluebeam, and we had tailored it over the years to what worked well for us. We'd established customized tools, and Bluebeam, kind of like Excel, is you can do whatever you want with it if you know how to customize it. So, and that was working fine for us. And I attended the Advancing Pre-Construction Conference in Phoenix last May, and Togle had reached out a few times, and I'm a little skeptical of software companies, honestly, when try our software. And but in that conference, you can go walk up to attendees and, okay, what do you have to offer? And they'll do demos. And I was intrigued. They piqued my interest. They weren't pushy. It was just, hey, let us show you what we do. And I was interested to see more. So I came back, signed up for a trial, tested it, and I saw the potential of not just staying in the status quo, what we did, which wasn't broken, it worked fine, but how do we make improvements to make our lives easier, be more efficient, and meet the needs of our clients in a timely way.
Gotcha. Do you feel like there was any things that Togle kind of helped bridge that gap, transitioning over from Bluebeam to utilizing Togle?
Well, initially, the idea of having software that will take not all, but some of the manual takeoff process away and allow you to focus more on the pricing aspects rather than the tedious point and click. That was the reason we switched. And then since I've seen additional features that just simplify the process. I mean, all takeoff software, I've used probably 5 or 6 different options over the years. And they do the same thing when it comes to area takeoff and lineal footage and that aspect. But there's clearly advances in ways to make it more efficient. So seeing click the toggle button and it does your takeoff for you was the intro to that. But then there's other features that have really kind of made our lives easier.
That's great. So how long have you guys been using Togle so far?
Oh, when we signed up, June, I think, of last year, so 7 months.
Perfect. And then how many members on your team are currently using Togle?
There are 3. We just hired a new estimator this week, so we now have 4. He had his first intro yesterday.
It's great news to hear. Any struggles at first, when first just trying to get Togle going with the team, or?
Well, yeah, honestly, anytime you make a change in process, there's going to be growing pains. So, there's the learning curve, which really isn't that steep, but it is different. We had the biggest difference was how we export our data. So we had a very specific process in Bluebeam that required us to think a little differently. But one of the things that I asked my team to do when they had the tendency to revert back to what was known and comfortable was let's cut it off. If you're going to learn a new system, you have to really learn it, and you have to put the time in to try it. And so I was a little worried about them just going back to what was comfortable, and here we are going to try this new software and not really give it the time that it needs. So I think the biggest hurdle was changing that mentality of, I'm going to do what I know how to do just because that's easier. And once we saw the benefit, and I helped my team see the benefit, and they got buy-in, we really don't use Bluebeam. We use Bluebeam for a lot of things, but for takeoff specifically, very rarely anymore. If I'm looking for a general area, sure, but most part we're fully into Togle now.
It's great. What do you see your team using Togle on specifically for like daily and weekly needs? Are you guys using it, I guess, throughout all stages of takeoff as the project evolves, every revision?
Yeah. Honestly, it's hard to live in two worlds. So if we're using Bluebeam for conceptual estimates and Togle for detailed estimate, we're never going to get there. So I made the decision we're going to use it for everything. And we do a lot of negotiated, in fact, most of our work is negotiated. So we're involved early in design at concept stage throughout pre-construction. And we're doing takeoffs on everything. We touch it all. So we've developed a really robust library over the past 6 months in Togle that mirrored some of what we had in Bluebeam. And one of my favorite features of Togle is once that library is built and established, which Michael helped me build, he took a lot of the legwork, so I didn't have to do it manually. Once that library was built, you do your takeoff, and I really like the ability to just pick one of my tools and it automatically changes from a general area to that specific item. So that's been a huge time saver. In Bluebeam, you could do it, but it was a multi-step process. And so as we've started to see the benefits of the tools and how they simplify our lives, it's taken us 6-7 months to get to the point where I think it's finally gaining that efficiency. But I knew that going into it. I knew it was going to take time. And so I was willing to put in the effort.
How's the collaboration feature working out? Being a team-based company, and you guys have 4 users now. Are you guys utilizing the collaboration tool often, working together as a team?
Yeah, all the time. So that's a feature that, it took me a little bit to get used to. So I have my own view of what I'm taking off. My coworkers, they can use the same floor plan and do their own, and we can see what each other's work without stepping on each other's toes. Bluebeam, I'm going to open a file, or any other tool out there. The collaboration just didn't exist. I'm going to maybe accidentally overwrite someone else's work, where here, I don't have to worry about touching or messing up what one of my coworkers is doing when I do my own work on the same floor plan.
Gotcha. Any other favorite features so far you like about it?
Just the basic takeoff tools that, regardless of what people are currently using, are more or less the same. But there's a few little time-saving tricks that I've liked. There's the new arc tool. Honestly, the previous version, didn't exist when we first signed up, and now it's great.
Correct.
So one of the things that I like is that there's continual upgrades and improvements. And I mean, I've had feature requests that I put in, and 2 months later, you contact me and say, "Hey, by the way, we made this change." So the tool as it is today is great, but I really like that you guys listen to your users and you're really trying to be proactive in making improvements continually.
No, I appreciate hearing that. For those who don't know, we always say here we're building the best takeoff software possible. So I always say we're building a takeoff software for estimators by estimators. So I'm always constantly partnering with customers, trying to get their feedback and sharing that info with the development team to help lead the actual development of the software itself. And one of those, Nate, when you first joined, was the ARC tool. I'm a former Plan Swift user myself when I was an estimator. And so I know how important that tool was, and I was able to help push the team along to get that tool released for us. And yeah. And then overall, how was, getting started, onboarding, customer support? How's that been so far?
I think honestly, that's one of the things that sets you guys apart as an organization.
Appreciate it.
So usually, so there's a chat function. If you have a question, you know, hey, either a feature request or an issue or something's not working. And usually you'll get a response. With some software companies, it might be a day later. I'd get a phone call from Michael an hour later. And honestly, the first time it caught me off guard, I'm like, whoa, I wasn't ready to talk about this. I just was throwing this out there. So the fact that I have a real person who I've interacted with over the months, who's my help with anything I need, is abnormal in the industry, and it's I think definitely a positive.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate hearing that. And then what would you say to those in the industry that are hesitant to make a change? Anything, just making a change, from one takeoff solution to another, and then maybe even hesitant about the use of AI?
It's an interesting question because I think there's a lot of people who don't like change, period. If we used Bluebeam for takeoff for 10 years, and if it weren't for me seeing an opportunity to improve, I still would be using it because it is great for what we did. But I'm always looking for ways to get better. So personally, if I see an opportunity for improvement, I'm going to jump. Now, I know going into it, the change can be hard for some people. I have some coworkers that took a little longer to buy in, and that's okay. I think you have to let the process ride out. It's not going to be overnight. You have to get used to it and comfortable. For us, it's taken 7 months to get where we are. I think we're finally seeing the efficiency we were hoping to see, but it's not an overnight process. And then the other, with AI, my opinion is either jump on the bandwagon or it's going to leave you behind. Every week I see a new company that's introducing AI tools. And so I'd rather be at the front of that and utilizing what we can and being ahead of our competition than waiting until everybody jumps on before I'm comfortable. So again, that's a personal opinion. I think a lot of people would argue the other side. But if there's an opportunity to improve, I'm going to take it. And I saw this as an opportunity to improve.
I appreciate it. Yeah, everyone. So this is Nate Jensen. If you guys have any questions, feel free to chime in. I know there's a Q&A option. We can kind of answer a few questions for the next 5 minutes. We want to just keep a brief webinar, just let you guys hear the real voice of a customer and their experience with Togle so far. I want to give you guys an opportunity. I see some people raising their hands. I'm not going to be allowing voice chat on this. You can just go ahead and type your question in the Q&A, and then we'll be addressing it there. And those who are interested, there's further content on our website. If you go to Togle AI, you can go there and actually check out and sign up for a trial demo. Like Nate said earlier, we're always at conferences. We're going to be going around to other conferences this year too. So always feel free to send us an email if you have any questions. We're going to be there. We'll let you know where we're going to be, and you guys are able to, meet with us. All right, so we got a few questions. Brian, what are the voice or talk to features of Togle? We don't have any voice or talk to features of Togle. We have Togle GPT, being able to utilize that to speak to your plans, but I'm not sure what you mean by voice or talk to features of it. Andrew, how did you get your takeoff into your estimating software? Does Togle have any integration features or estimating softwares? So Togle itself, we export everything to Excel by default. Excel is still king in the industry, unfortunately. We are exploring those possibilities, but at the moment, everything just exports to Excel.
I'd add there, we use Excel for our estimates because it's so customizable. So the export function in Togle is a sheet that you can customize with various columns. So what I've done is set it up to match exactly what my estimate looks like. And so part of the growth process for us was we did make a few changes to our estimate templates so that we could more easily export the data and feed it. So we've worked out a system that's allowed me to eliminate 70% of my data entry in Excel. So I export an Excel sheet, I paste it into a template I've created, and it populates my quantities.
Perfect. I like this question. Can you speak on Togle's ability to do conceptual estimating? Often we use our current takeoff software to conceptualize and draw in scope that isn't on the documents yet.
Yeah, I do similar sometimes in Bluebeam. So I'll draw it in Bluebeam. If you flatten it in Bluebeam, I'll then import that plan to Togle, and you can take it off like normal. One of the things that I tested in Togle was it needs a double line to automatically find walls. So I drew them in, flattened it, and tested it, and it worked just like as if the architect had drawn it. Most of the time, though, we're using conceptual floor plans that are developed enough to where Togle still recognizes it a floor plan and will find areas, it'll count doors, it'll find your linear footage of wall without me doing any of that manual drawing work.
Gotcha. And then I like this one from Ben. What's the accuracy of Togle compared to Bluebeam Review? Of course, Bluebeam has the human factor to consider, but the AI, is there a gap that forced, how you plan ahead or new estimating projects? Did you feel like, I don't know, do you feel like AI is less accurate than a human?
So the interesting thing is the accuracy of what it's drawing. Whether I do it manually on an area or Togle does it, it's the same quantity that comes out. The human factor is I then go in and label it what I want it to be. So if it's drawn every room on a floor plan, it gives me the square footage, and that's all it gives me. I go in and tell it what that room is. So if it's carpet in this room and tile in that room. So as far as the quantities are concerned, it's exactly the same as Bluebeam's accuracy. The only caveat to that is if it's a, like say there's a column bump out around a steel column, sometimes it doesn't do a perfect square. So you go in and you'll move a line around, but it's a fraction of the time that I would take manually drawing that line in anyway.
Yeah. And Ben, just too, all the takeoff that the AI processes here in Togle is still completely modifiable by the users. So with these area polygons, linears, you can actually go in there and add additional points. You can pull a point, you can cut, split, you can delete it if you don't want it either. So yeah. See here, is there a trust issue with the AI takeoff quantities? I think it kind of touches on the same thing we just spoke about. To do callouts, dimension lines, general notes with the drawing effect Togle with measuring accuracy.
I haven't experienced that, no.
Now, yeah, so Ben, actually, I'll let you go ahead, Nate.
I was just gonna say you use it on a floor plan and it works fine. Like I've tested on site plans, it's not really set up to take off a site plan yet, or structural. It doesn't work well on structural. It's architectural floor plans is where it really excels with the automatic part. But because the manual takeoff tools that you'd use in PlanSwift or OST or Bluebeam are all there, you still are going to do your manual takeoff the way you would in any other software anyway.
Yeah, and Ben, just to answer that, so the AI is actually trained to look for like the boundaries of a building, looks for the walls, and actually learns and knows the objects, and that's just been from thousands and thousands of examples of training it. So it's not going to get like stuck on a dimension line or anything like that. It's just going to blatantly run over it, and it knows the actual boundaries of a wall or a building itself. So that's why the AI is there. It's your co-pilot for architectural floor plans and RCPs. We are still gearing up the AI and training it for other scopes of work. But like Nate mentioned, it is a complete manual takeoff tool too. So you can go in there and actually do your own manual takeoffs like any traditional software. Susan, I see you're requesting a demo. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that. Okay, Landon, did your team have to fully recreate your condition library for the transition to Togle? If so, how long did it take? How intuitive was the integration?
Yeah, well, we both could speak to that one. We did have to recreate it. We have a robust tool set in Bluebeam that we've built. by CSI division. And so it was a process, but I didn't have to do the bulk of that work. The Togle team did it for me. So I exported my tool sets to show them the structure that I had, and then they went and built it for me. Now we modified and made changes, and in the process found ways that we wanted to improve. So we've been tweaking that library, but if you've got something built already that's, you know, you spent years on, and the thought of having to rebuild that is terrifying, which it was for me. It was really nice to know that they helped me set that up.
Yeah, Landon, if you want, when you speak to a sales member, or even you can reach out to me, we can talk about that and getting you set up, you know, if you guys have a built out library or any other system, feel free to reach out to the team, see if that's something they can start to integrate for you. And how easy is it, Nate, to continuously update it? I mean, we try to make it a streamlined process where you can almost just drag and drop your classifications straight in your library.
No, it's really simple. Creating new tools, saving them into the library. So there's an overall organization library that I share with my team, and then you can create custom tools on a project specific basis. So the standardized tools that we've created are all there and accessible, and I can, once it's established and you have a structure in place, it's really easy.
Perfect. Well, Nate, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for taking the time to speak with everyone a little bit about Togle, and appreciate you sharing your experience so far with it. Definitely appreciate that. And yeah, thank you guys for joining. We really appreciate you guys listening in to this case study, and you know, having to see the real world experience from an actual customer. And feel free to go to our website again, Togle AI. You can go there and register for a free trial. Actually test out the program yourself on your own plans and software. You can also book a demo on there if you want to meet with a sales member, kind of get a customized demo, understand, you know, the tool for your business needs. They can go into detail on that. We really appreciate everyone for coming in and joining.
Yeah. And if you have questions for me from the user's perspective, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to respond. I'll give you an honest
Thank
response.
you, Nate.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye.